for hanging around. Please put your hands together for Mr. James Whitham. James, aren't moving away, just park yourself so the sun's out of your eyes, mate, that's all. Now, we had a good chat yesterday about various things about your career, obviously starting off as a youngster and not really, never having to, apart from your own work, not have a proper job, yeah, which you seem quite proud of, rightly so. But when you started as a kid, you were 16 when you went off and did your first bit of racing, and was you adamant from day one to being a winner? Was you kind of aware of your own levels and you had your own aspirations, or did it?
No, I wasn't, and I think that's what's changed a little bit now. If you've got a VSB, you get kids who's probably done 4 or 5 meetings, never done the club racing, national level, British Championship. They want to start racing a bike because they've done a bit of mini motoring, then they want to be in British Championship, and it wasn't like that for me. I had some mates race, my dad was into his racing, he'd take me to watch some meetings. And I went racing because I wanted to race a bike, and it's not until I got to a meeting, maybe say a few I don't know, but it's not until I got to a meeting and then did alright that I thought, ooh, might be alright at this. And then you just think about maybe winning a couple of races, and when you've done that you think, well, hang on a minute, look at my lap times, I could probably do that national meeting. And it's kind of, with me it was an incremental thing. It was kind of one step at a time that I never really believed I was at that level, you know what I mean? It was a weird thing.
No, I mean for me, it took me 18 months to realise I was any good.
That's exactly the same.
And subconsciously I didn't realise how competitive I was. I kind of set up and didn't realise how much I wanted it until I was actually there, it was really, really weird. And then, in fact, at the end of my second season, year 1 I did club racing, year 2 I did British Championship because there's nothing else. And I started to get on the podium in the second year, and then Dave Hancock from the Honda boss, he comes to me on the podium at Brands Hatch and he said to me, what are you doing next year? I said, what's it got to do with you?
You don't want to be doing that.
No, and then Eddie Roberts comes to me on the podium and he said, what are you doing next year? I said, you're as bad as him. What's it got to do with you? And anyway, lo and behold, about a month later I kind of, the penny dropped and I gave them both a call back and apologised, and I got two Hondas for nothing and 50 Pirelli tyres. That's how it worked.
And that's on your third year. Well, it took me a little bit longer. I did 1 full season on a 125 Honda, then moved up to a better 125, a little 125 twin called an NBA. Won a lot of British Championship rounds, but fell off a little bit. Didn't win the championship, finished second. Then my third year, I was into doing some. You can't do it now. Then you got your classes for 80, 125, 250, 350, and 500. Then your 4-stroke classes above that. So my third year, I was doing with a Merc van, a mate, a motorbike, and a set of levers, and we did a European Championship season. So that was the old kind of apprenticeship, if you like, of going racing. And then after the 86 season, which was my third season, it became apparent that I wanted to do Grand Prix. I'd done about 3 or 4 Grand Prix and ran pretty well in 86. Decided that you were never going to make a living out of racing 125 or 250 bikes in Britain, because Brits are into big bikes, always were. There was never any, like you get in Italy, 125s, 80s, all that, there were massive classes then, and especially Spain, places like that on the continent, but here not so, people weren't interested in little bikes. So I decided that I'd go from a 125 to a 750 super stock bike, and went on from there. But it took me a while to realise there could be a living to be made, and then I did the usual thing. I was working as an apprentice engineer. I had to have a lot of time off to go racing. Got sacked because I had time off. Through the door, started earning a little bit of a living, bit of money out of racing my bike, and I'd come home for a week. I'm earning I'm getting 40 quid a week on the door, whatever it was at the time. And I might have a good weekend and come home with 300 quid and think, oh, hang on, I shouldn't tell them that I've got, no, I won't tell them, I won't tell them. It took me about a year to realise that I was going to get thrown in jail if I didn't stop going the door and racing at the same time. So it was all very, for me, it was very step at a time, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know you, Dad, but from what I've heard, he probably sounds like you take after him that way. So, I mean, you get riders like, obviously, your old teammate and kind of managed you a little bit, then Rob Mack, who's good at everything. You know, he's a good golfer, he's a good trials rider. And obviously, in his words, he's not brilliant at one thing, but he's good at everything, you know. But of course, so you didn't set out just thinking that straight away, do the kind of the penny, took a while for a penny to drop.
Rob's strange in that he's a big, strong lad, but he's a bit of a dump truck of a bloke. You know, he doesn't look like he's going to have any finesse or feel, or he's got big sausage hands. He shouldn't be good at stuff. He's just a big dumb fella, you know what I mean? But he's good at stuff. I remember his first time snowboarding, he could do it easy. First time skiing, he could do that. Trials riding, good at that. Did it on motocross meeting, quite quick at that. Rob was one of them hands-on people. There is people, really annoying bastards that are like that. And then other people like me who've got to graft away at it and still a shit.
So once you kind of realised that you was half decent in this job, what in the time you was coming through, what was your target? Or where did you want to end up?
I don't know. I decided I wanted to be a bike racer and earn a living it after about 3 years of racing. Realised I could do it. 87 I raced a Superstock bike all year, won 2 of the British Championship rounds, and from then, and that's when money was a lot better than it is now. There is riders making money out of sport now, but there's no prize money as such. No BSB rounds have prize money as such. There's no, if you win a BSB round, you're not going to get paid any money. There'll be bonus from your team and a wage from your team, if you're Shaky Byrne or Josh Brooks. Then I remember winning the last Superstock round of the championship in Brands Hatch in 87. I won 2 rounds that year in Mountain in Brands Hatch. And I came away from Brands Hatch with 6,600 quid in cash when the bike I was riding cost brand new £2.5 grand. So, and an house I bought shortly after that cost 20 grand. So it was like going to a British Championship now, winning a round and coming away with, let's say, 30 grand. In effect, that's what it was like. There's no money in it now. And at that point, end of 87, I thought, there's money to be made. Not only that, not only did you get paid for the big national meetings, there was other meetings you got paid for, like you could go to Scarborough and get a bit of start money, or the Isle of Man and get a bit of start money. You could be a jobbing motorcycle racer then, and it's really difficult to do that now. You can earn a lot of money for being a really good motorcycle racer, but you can't be in that middle ground and make a living. It's really difficult to do that now.
How do you see, obviously, with your commentary and obviously being involved with the BSB and being there and seeing everything that goes on every weekend all season long, how do you see it now with the kind of money the guys are earning or taking with them, in fact, and you know, how do you see the British Championship going? You think it's as strong as anything?
British Championship is really strong. The organisers are brilliant at making the regulations so that everybody can produce a competitive bike. People want to be involved in it. TV coverage is good, which is essential for any race series to be competitive and popular.
Well, it's alright. Well, it's alright.
I didn't mean that in the fact that, I didn't mean that. I meant that there's a lot of it and it's out there a lot and every race is on. So it's a very strong championship. Probably the strongest national championship in the world, which is why don't be fooled into thinking Josh Brooks ever came here because he wants to race at Cadwell. He wanted it to be a launching pad, and he stuck around a lot longer than I thought. He wanted to be a world championship, and that's why foreigners are coming here. They see it as a stepping stone into where they want to be world championship wise. Where do I see it going? I would love to see a British Championship where there's some reward for the people who finish, say, 5th in a, you know, a little bit of prize down the scale. The weird thing is now, you look at a British Championship grid, a BSB race, Shane Byrne getting paid to do it, and there might be 6 or 7 riders being paid a wage to be there. 2 rows back, the guy's paying 100 grand to be sat on that bike. He's paying, or his sponsors are paying, his dad's paying. And that's it's a kind of weird thing for me, that. If the championship's popular and 40,000 people are paying to come and watch, which they are regularly, there should be some filter back to the people performing, to me. So I'd like to see that happen, whether it will or not, I don't know. And it's a strong championship, and kids are coming through that are going to go on to world championships, I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, without doubt, there's the gates, as in the spectators, there's so many guys there, you know, compared to World Endurance, it's like tumbleweed rolling through the paddock, you know. And of course, the TV figures, it's always good viewing, so, and it's really popular. The racing is great. You know, it doesn't make sense to a certain degree. You get prize money in your lesser classes, Super Stock, Super Sport, but on Superbike, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, a really funny kind of example of this. We were walking into, I think, Cadwell Park with a mate of mine who don't come to many meetings. I've got him a pass, he's got in, he's walking down, he's having a look round, and there's about 20, there must be about 150 motorhomes in the motorhome park. There's about 20 of them, big gobbers, I mean big American, 150,000 quid motorhomes, big things. And it looks flash, and they're all parked in the front of those ones, obviously. It's for the spectacle, and my mate says, oh, it must be made a fortune. I said, probably not, you know, from what I know, they're not, some of them's earning decent money, but we chatted with James Ellison and he's got one of the biggest of these motorhomes. It turns out to sell his house to buy it. So he's got a big motorhome, but no, it's a bit of a, it's a weird thing for me, that. I've had motorhomes, but I never sold an house to buy one.
No, never. Yeah, but a lot of the guys, you know, that's what they prioritise. It's about looking good. And I know for a fact, obviously, like you just said, there's no prize money now in BSB. So those guys obviously are pushing hard. 26, whatever it is, 20 odd races a year, 25, pushing really hard. And some of them actually take out an insurance policy that pays them a bonus if they get on the podium.
Yeah.
So they make it.
Yeah, you can actually take out an insurance policy now. If you're a team manager and a team owner, you can insure against your rider being injured, or it's expensive, but you can insure against losing your rider getting injured, your rider clearing off for whatever reason, or your rider not getting the results that you think that he should get. It's expensive, really expensive. In my little case, when I was doing World Championship racing in 94 through basically 2002 when it finished, I used to spend between 10 and 15 grand a year just on insurance, to insure against me not earning what I thought and not being able to pay my mortgage. But most importantly, to get me home. If I was in Thailand or, you know, Sugo or Phillip Island, I wanted to get home. If I smashed myself to bits, I wanted to be on a flight back in a comfy team. So I paid between 10 and 15 grand a year in insurance, which at the time was really expensive, but I never regret it. I thought it was worth the good money. I only ever used it once, but I still think it was good value.
Going back to yourself, you know, obviously coming through, winning quite a few championships and being the main man in the UK on Superbikes for sure, and the world level very, very fast. Of course, riding the Ducati in the UK and knocking on the door for another British Championship, and obviously you hit with a big health scare.
Yeah, well, what a scare! It was a scare, yeah. Lymphoma. I got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in '95. Obviously, that cut my championship short. I felt really sorry for Islop, because Islop was every bit as quick as me that year. He was pushing me for the championship anyway, and it kind of looked like he won it by default, and it wasn't the case. I felt a bit sorry for him winning it that way. But anyway, yeah. So that took about, I don't know, about 6 months to went through all the chemo and all that kind of thing. But to be honest, I forgot about that now. You know, when you get back to some kind of, I forgot how bad or good it was.
Well, maybe so from the outside, people looking in, you look at, like we spoke about it, or you spoke about it, Ian Hutchinson, and you spoke about how determined he was and what he's been through and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, even from that side, how did you manage to get through that, really, and how did you kind of prepare yourself mentally to get over it?
Yeah, the cancer thing's not like, if you fall off your motorbike and you get badly hurt, you can understand how you don't want to get near a motorbike again for a bit. You know what I mean? It puts you off, and you wouldn't be a human being if you wanted to keep hurting yourself. So I can understand the rider thinking, oh God, I'm not going to be quick now because last time out I broke my leg. I can understand that. The cancer thing was different. I'd done a dangerous sport for the best part of 15 years when I got cancer, and I'd not done anything I didn't think I'd done anything to warrant me getting the cancer. So when I got better, the bike racing didn't scare me at all. Not at all. I thought, hang on, I've raced a motorbike for 15 years and I've been worried about hurting myself off the bike. Then I nearly died through no fault of my own, but I'm not scared of that anymore, because I kind of know what I'm doing, you know what I mean? So the racing scared me less after that than before. Weird.
And coming through that, and obviously, look, you know, everything was positive. You came through well. Obviously, reacted to the treatment perfectly. What did it do to you? You know, was you just kind of low on power? You know,
knackered. I lost weight. I lost a lot of weight. I thought my training regime was going really well. It turns out I had cancer. I lost a lot of weight. I'm like, oh, look at that. It's all right. I mean, what do? You've got something wrong with you. I'm not one of these who does any research. I don't want to read about every person who's ever had the same affliction as me. I took my medicine, I got my chemo, I didn't think about it too much, I hoped for the best, I crossed my fingers, and I got better. And that's it, and I don't really look back. You know what I mean? I went for my checkups every 2 months, and every 3 months, and every 6 months, and every year. And after 10 years, they tell you to piss off and not go back. And that's it. That's all you can do, isn't it? And it was like then the sort of book's shut then, and you don't think about it. You know, what it does do for you, the only thing it does for you is it makes you know that if you spot something quick enough, you've a better chance of sorting it out. And that, to the point that I was a bit sort of trigger happy, you know. I'm in the shower and I felt a lump on my testicles, right? And I'm thinking, that's it, I've got testicular cancer. Next morning, right, I've got my hand and I'm up to see my oncologist, and I knocked on his door. I didn't even get an appointment. I went up to the hospital, knocked on my door, and I said, Mr. Carter, yeah, what are you doing back? I've got a lump on my nuts. I think I've got cancer. He went, all right, let's have a look. And he went, no, that's normal. I went, well, what about that bit? He went, yeah, that's your pipe work, fuck off. And then I went back, I had a cold. I had a cold that lasted about a month. You know, like every time I swallowed it, I'm back up to it again. And Mr. Carr, yeah, I've got throat cancer. All right, come in. Let's have a look. Yeah, fuck off. So what it has given me is a little bit of I don't know, a feel, but if something's going wrong, you go get it sorted out. You don't, because the first time when I got it, I didn't. I just put it down to virus or whatever. You know what I mean? So now I'm up there every 10 minutes. What about that? Yeah, you're all right.
You obviously come back and was fast straight away, you know, on at the bridge and then on to World Championship. And my question is, really, obviously, you know, you rode some good bikes in the British Championship. You know, you was up at World Superbikes, some GP stuff. What's the best thing you've ridden?
Yeah,
I don't mean that result-wise, but just what was the best thing
you get asked that a lot. The problem is you can never compare. It's like asking you lot, what's the best bike you've ever had? You always remember bikes fondly, even though the modern bikes, and like, if you've got a brand new 1 litre sports bike or even 600 sports bike, it's so good. A 1 litre sports bike is probably quicker, better handling and better equipment than anything I've ever raced going back 12 years. But that's not to say I like that bike better than one I raced on back in the day, you know what I mean? So you've got fond memories of bikes regardless of whether sometimes they're not the best bikes, you understand that? So my favourite bikes would be you always remember the bikes most fondly, the ones you did most with them, I reckon. So my Belgada bike, my Belgada Super Sport bike, that was brilliant, and the team was fantastic, and I enjoyed my time. That was some of the most fun racing, if you like. And maybe a fast orange bike. I raced a YZF Yamaha in '93, won a British Championship on it, and that was just a good year. I couldn't put a foot wrong. I had the luckiest year. If anything were going to smash on the bike, he did it after I finished. I had a chain snap just going over the line. You can't get no better than that. You can't get any luckier than that. Then you have years when everything falls off your bike when you don't want it to do it. So probably the fast orange Yamaha and the Belgada Yamaha.
So you packed in racing. Obviously, you've been very successful on the TV, so quite natural, obviously, with it on the commentary and doing various different presenting. A bit more time. Obviously, you're getting into restoring bikes. Now, I've had it on good order. I gave you 8 out of 10 for this bike when I was at the NEC, which I thought was being quite nice.
An 8 out of 10.
This man here says it hasn't got the right indicators and clocks. I haven't got a clue.
No, clock's right, indicators aren't right, so come getting it. Clocks, the indicator lenses are right, the clocks are definitely right, the clocks are original 1981. No, it's definitely them.
I had the 80 and the clocks were separate. The little light.
No, that's an early model.
Right.
This is an X. Yeah. The reason that there isn't many of these about is the fact that by the time this model came out with the clocks and everything else, was the LC Yamaha that come out, and you could buy an LC 250 for the same money as one of them. So why would you buy one of them? You get an LC.
Yeah, they were 699, weren't they? I think the LC 999, the 250.
Well, you still get an LC, wouldn't you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Because that looks a million years old compared to an LC, doesn't it? But it is alright. The indicators are actually the right shape. They're just not Suzuki indicators.
Weren't they the round ones?
No, that's an. You didn't listen, did you?
Sorry.
No, listen. The original N model X7 has separate clocks and chrome round indicators.
Yeah.
The X, which this is, has has all that equipment, is exactly like it should be, but they're not Suzuki indicators on it. Right? I give you more intelligence and credit. I was thinking he knew that they weren't proper Suzuki.
No.
So it's definitely right. It's definitely right.
Beautiful. Same colour as I am as well.
And most of it's original. I don't buy anything unless I have to do. It's all original. Exhaust chrome, the everything's, even the tank. I have to cut the bottoms out and put new. It's all original.
Obviously, you can tell how passionate James is about restoring things and his attention to detail. I have to say that because we went for a walk over the halls the other side yesterday afternoon, and there's a two-stroke stand over, and there's a white X7 on there. He ripped the shit out of it.
Not only that, the bloke was stood there. But the thing is, I'm not. If I'm doing a bike up, I want it to look as original as it. I want to try and make it look like it came out of a factory with the same finishes and everything. But I know that other people want to build things that are a bit shiny and maybe improve from the standard. And I appreciate that. I won't having to go at the block. I'm just saying that I wouldn't have done it like that, and he has, and that's me. I'm not. These people who build specials and well-built frames are brilliant. It's not for me, but I can appreciate the flipping skilling of,
I think he understands you. Wasn't having to go at him personally, but after he wiped his eyes.
Well, he had good excuses for stuff because he had his wheels shot blasted and it's just destroyed all the flipping. Anyway, we're getting.
So, apart from restoring bikes, you're doing a bit of trials riding, just obviously keeping yourself in hand. You do a lot of training days and various things, but we spoke yesterday about how competitive are you still now when you throw your leg over a bike, and you said you're pretty much over it. But is there anything throughout your career that you feel you could have achieved that you didn't?
No, I think I don't know. Who knows? You can't. I just think you can't look back. Certain things happen in your life, for good or for bad. You can't go back. You can't fix most of it. I tell you what, my brother-in-law shift heavy machinery, and he stuck his hand under an 8-ton piece of equipment, and it fell off its mountain, and it chopped. He's lost them fingers, so he's kept his little finger. And that'd spoil your life, wouldn't it? You can't ride a motorbike properly. And he just says, I've done it now. I can't draw them back. You go forward. You make your way forward. And I've always looked at. I refuse to be the man in the corner of the pub who's 80-year-old who says, I could have been better than Rossi and that body was rubbish. I'm not going to be. I think I did. I probably think I did as well as I could with the amount of talent I was born with and the hand I was given. I think I did alright. Not only that, I look back on it, I wouldn't have changed that much. Even, do you know, it sounds silly this, but I had years when I didn't fall off at all, and I had years when I fell off quite a bit. But if you go racing bikes, you're going to fall down, you're going to hurt yourself, right? So I look back and I think, even some of the bad bits were funny now. Broken collarbones, they're funny things now because it stopped hurting. And I wouldn't change that for anything. I wouldn't. I broke my pelvis off a GP bike in '99 and it hurt. And I had to have a catheter in and I had to have a big framework sticking out here and I had a lot of complications with it. But I'm alright now. When I look back on that, I think, oh yeah, it was one of life's little kind of detours, and I wouldn't change any of that. In fact, that was one of the funniest things. I got hurt in Czechoslovakia. I got flown back because I had good insurance with an English registered aeroplane, an English nurse and doctor. I got brought back to Leeds and I had my operation to fix all my pelvis up and re-plumb my bladder and all that because I damaged that a little bit. And I woke up on the Wednesday morning, last thing I could remember coming out of Brno, and I've got this framework sticking out here and the surgeon says, we've had a good do, everything's gone back in the right place, you should make pretty much a full recovery, but you've got 6 months with this big framework out. No problem. So after about another couple of weeks, he says, right, the framework's knitting in, no problem. We'll get you up on your crutches, we'll get an occupational therapist to get you up and down, and as long as we know you can climb up and downstairs, get yourself up and on and off a toilet and make yourself a cup of tea, we're quite happy for you to be seen as an outpatient and live at home. Happy days. Did the tea thing, did the walking thing, but all the time, from the Sunday when I hurt myself in Brno, I had a catheter bag. So I've got a tube up the end of my willy and a bag for the week, right? Lots of people, you might have had one, right? So that's no problem. So I did all the stuff I had to do, and the nurse says, right, well, the occupational therapist says, right, I'll send a nurse in to take your catheter tube out, and then bring your relatives or your mate, whoever's coming to pick you up, and you can go home, no problem, we'll just have this catheter taken out. Send this young nurse in. This was on a general male ward, so there's beds everywhere, a room as big as this, right? Little nurse comes in, wheels the curtain round, pulls the covers down, and just gets over this tube and starts to pull it, right? And she's pulling it, and it ain't coming out. And I can feel this sort of pain right inside here. I mean, oh. I said, oh, that's quite uncomfortable. She went, oh, well, yeah. And she's scratching her head and pulling it a bit more. In the end, she's got a foot on my chest, and she's like, and I'm, and it's not moving. What? And she got the matron in there, the proper staff nurse, who said, have you deflated the balloon inside? Apparently these things have got two skins on this tube, and when they get it into your bladder, they blow wind down the outside tube that opens the balloon to stop it coming out. She goes, no. She's trying to pull a balloon this big out. So the other lady cut this thing and let the air out, and then it came out alright. Now my penis is... but it's only that. It's only like that. Stupid woman.
You got a number?
Alright now.
Well, the first time I watched you, I said yesterday, was about, I don't know what, year 90 or 91 at Capel Park. It was one of the first British championships I've been to, just to spectate with some mates on road bikes. You were riding
Granny's bike then?
Suzuki's, yeah. I think JR was on the team being Kawasaki and Morrison. But when I was there, I think it was Steve Spray and Ron Aston were riding the Nortons.
Yeah.
How fast were they?
Yeah, really fast.
In that era. I mean, I was looking at the ride on the TT last year on the parade. But how were they kind of perceived in that day? Because obviously all of you were riding the four cylinders, but those things just seemed to be cheating. They was that fast.
Yeah, we had perhaps 120, 125 horse, and they had perhaps 145 horse, which meant that they were a lot quicker. And yeah, we hated them. We didn't like them. It was a bit of a double-edged sword, because what happened was, when the Norton started winning, the crowds came back. We were getting 25,000 people at Cadwell when we'd had about 5,000 before. So it was we wanted the crowds there watching us, but yet we knew the Nortons were cheating. It wasn't cheating, the rules allowed it to be. What the problem is, when you've got a Wankel engine, the actual rotor, the piston bit, the triangle bit, doesn't turn at the same speed as the crank. So if you get a single cylinder engine and turn it over, one turn of the crank, it sucks in and blows out X amount of air. That's its swept volume. So a 125 motorbike, whether it be a 4-stroke or a 2-stroke, if you turn that crank 360 degrees, one turn, it's sucked in and blown out 125 or 124.5 cc's, whatever it is. And that's how a piston engine works. This thing, if you turn the crank once, it's actually only done a third of a turn of the big triangular thing, right? So that's only 588 cc's. But in actual fact, when the crank turns 3 times, the thing's gone round once, and that's 1800, 1680 or something. So you can't really, there's no way of working it out and comparing it. All we knew is it was 20 miles an hour quicker than our bikes. But it didn't look the easiest thing to ride. It didn't look an easy bike to ride. It had flipping handlebar grips like meat pies. It looked like a tractor, but it was fast. Places like Cadwell, they had a chance, but places like Snetterton, the old Snetterton with a long backstage, forget it. It sucked the stickers off your fairing as it came past.
Obviously, you're kind of associated with on the Suzuki brand. I don't mean now. I mean back then, you was kind of looking back always a Suzuki fella, and I would say that was kind of probably not the best bike in the paddock always. You might tell me wrong. Did you test any other bikes? Were other people looking at you? Was you always controlled by Mick Grant?
Yeah,
Suzuki job.
I believe Mick. I honestly think the Suzukis we had were better than what people thought they were. And I kind of enjoyed my time with it really. And I actually didn't mind being an underdog. I quite like the idea that people look at my bike and go, it's rubbish, you're doing well on that thing. And it wasn't as bad as what people thought, I don't think. I think it was alright. I had a bike in 92, where it all changed for me. I had a bike in 92. And I'd finished I'd done 3rd or 4th in the championship, and it wasn't a good bike that year. Now, I felt it wasn't a good bike, and then at the end of the year, MCN had a test. They had a bloke called Graham McGregor, a brilliant rider, Aussie guy that had retired, and he tested all 4 or 5 of these top bikes from BSB, my bike, John Reynolds' bike, Rob McElnay's bike, Brian Morrison's bike, and he tested them all, and the Norton. And he talked about every bike, and when he got to mine, he says, I don't know how Whitham's done what he's done, this is a pile of shit. Basically, that's what he said. And at that point, I thought, all right, maybe I need to swap really. And then the year after, I got off a Yamaha YZF off Rob Mack, and I had a really good season, so maybe I stopped a bit too long, but I enjoyed it, so yeah.
Right, have we got any questions, please, James?
That means we've explained everything really well. The question was how good was Medeiros? The Medeiros was the bike built by Kenny Roberts, racing in 1990 Grand Prix. It had 3 cylinders, it was a 2-stroke, and because it had 3 cylinders, it had a weight dispensation, so instead of having 240 kilos, it could be 115 kilos. So it weighed 115 kilos, there was a lot of carbon fibre on it, there was a lot of titanium on it, it had about 165 horsepower, and it weighed 115 kilos, and it was, the best way to describe it would be a rascal. It was dead easy to ride. Don't be fooled into thinking that a V4 2-stroke Grand Prix bike of the 80s and 90s was unrideable. Any of you would ride it. You'd get on it and you'd ride it home today, no problem. It's the last second and a half, and last half a second especially, when you're pushing for time, that's when they bite you. And that thing was so light. The advantage of it was that it should be able to get around corners quicker, but it wasn't as quick on the straight. But like a 250, you could get that around the track really quick using its advantages. It's a lightweight, stop quick because it's light, and it'll get around corners quick because it's light. But that meant you had a big lean angle compared to other people, and it also meant that in some corners, riders on bigger bikes that weren't able to get around corners as quick were in your way, so you couldn't take advantage of it sometimes. And when it flicked you off, it did it unbelievably quick. 1 minute you'd be on it, and then with a 4-stroke you generally get an idea when you're crashing. You know you're crashing, even though you can't stop it sometimes. That thing, I just remember a couple of times at a race, there's a big left-hander down the back of the pits, and I heard the engine, I heard this net, and I thought, oh, that's unusual. Next thing, I was 15 feet up, and I didn't know it happened. It was so fucking quick. Sorry. Yeah, it was when it bit you fairly hard, but it was a lovely thing. I've got some pictures on it, some of me sort of proudest pictures, and that year I got to work with Kenny Roberts, and he's a weirdo, but he's a legend, he's a legend. And when you did a debrief, after each session and after each race, you sit down with your crew chief and your mechanics, and they write things down, you tell them what the bike's doing and where areas you can improve. It takes about half an hour generally. Kenny Roberts has sat there in the debrief, and he's been doing he called it spotting. He'd go around the track each session, he'd go around and watch it at various corners. And if your team manager tells you that you're not working hard enough, you'd argue with him, but not Kenny Roberts. You're not arguing with him, it's the king. So if he tells you were shit in turn 1, you took it on chin. And that was the problem. But saying that, I would have swapped it. But I love working with Kenny Roberts. Still though, I met him, first time in 4 years I've seen him at the NEC this year. And he's just as funny and just as weird. Except now he's drinking a lot of red wine.
Any more questions, please?
Sorry, hang on. It's got a feedback, is that sort of feedback?
Right. Hello. I've got 2 Suzuki. I've got 2 Suzuki Stingers. Is it true you've got 8?
No. A really weird thing though. Suzuki Stingers, probably most of you know, are a lovely little. They were never popular in this country because at the time they were 125. Stingers are 125, and Stingers, at the time when Stingers came out, late 60s, early 70s, you could ride a 250 on a L plate, so nobody bought 125. It sold really well in Australia and America, but a mate of mine bought one and restored it, and I've just did a lovely looking thing, and a dead weird bike, high level pipes, and just nice, as you know. I thought I'd do one of them up. So this other mate of mine says, I know somebody was trying to sell some of them, and he had quite a few, and it were over East Coast it's like Hullway or... Right. There's some bloke, might not be, if it's you, I apologise for what I'm about to say. And I never went to the bloke's house, but my mate went and bought 8 plus tea chests full of stuff. It must have been 20 engines, several sets of wheels, loads of handlebars, tanks. He just bought basically about 6 van loads of Stinger stuff, right? And this bloke, that's all he had. He said he had a bathtub that were full of Stinger engines and 20 cats, and he said he smelled really bad. Right? This house. So me and my mate Jamie did 6 and both, and then sold the rest of the stuff off. And I've just sold the Stinger now. They're worth decent money now. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're a good little bike. Is it a Mark 1 or a Mark 2? Yeah, so it's yeah, you've got black exhaust pipes with a chrome end pipe. Yeah, well I've got mine the other way around. No, I haven't. Yeah. Sorry, we're just going into anorak mode, aren't we? Yeah, good little bike. Yeah. Anybody else? You might come over here because it'll free you back again, Steve.
Just a quickie, what do you think what they've done to the World Superbike format? It's bad enough as it is, it's wrecked it in my opinion.
Yeah, well, the question was what about the new World Superbike format? If you didn't know, I have to know, so I'd obviously commentate on World Superbike. World Superbike is still having 2 legs, but they don't have it on one day, they don't have it on Sunday, they're going for first leg will be Saturday afternoon, after qualifying, and then leg 2 will be on Sunday. I don't know, the idea is to get more people through the day to watch on the Saturday. Also, Super Sport qualifying on the Saturday is going to a Super Bowl format as well. So that might be a bit more exciting. Will it help? I don't know. The fact is that crowds have been falling at World Superbike for a long time, both on TV and at the circuits. So if you weren't going to go and watch Sunday, you're probably not going to go and watch Saturday, are you? I don't know. That said, there's a lot of things happening in World Superbike that are probably quite positive. In the Yamaha's back, there's new riders in there, there's Josh Brooks, should add a bit of spice. Also, we've got Nicky Hayden back on, probably not on the right bike to be winning in my opinion, but there is positive things happening, and I'm quite confident that it'll be a decent championship. Whether the format will bring more people through the gate or not, I question that. But anyway, it'll work for me because I get an extra day's wage out of it. So good.
Any more?
Yes, we might. Hey James, what I find with these World Superbikes, like, is when you're at the circuit, Dawn or whoever runs it, they've got their track that time, and there's such a distance after, like when you watch PSP, bang, 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 watching that, you have to wait a little there, watch over, then you have a...
Yeah, the thing is, but at British Championship, what you've got is, at British Championship, you've got how many races? Lots and lots of races. 2 BSB races, you've got 2 Super Sport now, one on the Saturday. So you've got a sprint and a feature race with Super Sport. You've got 2 or 3 of your Ducati, your Tri-Options, your Triumph, your single day championships, you've got your Moto 3. You've probably got about 15 races over the weekend at some of the meetings, so you've got to slot them in. And this is why BSB race direction is the best in the world, because they cannot afford hold-ups. It has to be perfect, the medical staff have to be good. Not just to save lives, that's brilliant, but they've also got to be good because it's got a format that has to be kind of stuck to, and they're brilliant at that at BSB. Dorna in World Superbikes, they've only got you've got 2 World Superbike races, and now only 1 on Sunday, and a Super Sport and a Stock Tower, and the Stock 6 is gone. So they're going to have to have big gaps. So there is a lot of, but Grand Prix like that, they've only got 3 races a day, and they get a lot of crowds. They get 60,000 people in. On the practice. Right. Yeah. Yeah, if I go and watch Grand Prix, I go and watch Saturday practice, because everybody's a bit more relaxed, there's less people there. I can't afford it. Any more questions? Please.
You know what I mean? You know what's that?
You don't need them, I do.
Tell me about it. If you were spending your money today, what Superbike would you buy?
1,000 cc.
If I were like a 1 litre sports bike, I would probably buy, if I were buying a 1 litre sports bike, with my own money now.
He's talking track days.
Track days. I'm a little bit old school. I do a lot of training on track with lads with sports bikes. One of the problems you've got now is, especially with the new Panigale, the BMW, a little bit the Kawasaki, there's so much electronics on it that lads my age and older, lads who are 50 odd year old, they're going into corners. I've got a mate who's got a Panigale, he's got a few quid as well, goes into a corner and he just goes like that, and the bike will the bike will sort him out by not giving him too much power. And for me, that it's impossible to train somebody out quicker when you're riding like that, because what you're trying to give them is a little bit of feel for where the bike is, how much grip they've got, how much what weight you've got on the front end, where they're under the throttle, where they're not, where they're just middling. So to me, I would always go a track bike. I would always lean towards one of the old school ones, and the oldest school track bikes now that you can buy brand new are either the Suzuki or the 5-blade. So I use Suzuki I use GSXR 1000s and 750s for my instructor bikes, because they're just old school. They're big, they're stable, they're fast enough, and they ain't got any shit you don't need. Right? Which, I don't know, you might want to go out, you might want to buy something that's got all the electronics and all that. And I also question whether most people, especially on British circuits, need 200 horsepower. Most people who get 200 horsepower, especially say at Cadwell or Old Park and Mallory, they don't ride the bike very well, because they come out of a corner, they're scared of it, they go whoa, and then they stop it for the next corner, and then they blast it again. It's always riders on 600s and even 400s or 2-strokes that are actually getting the best out of the circuit of the bike, in my opinion. I mean, you get some riders, I get some riders that are, on my training days, fast lads, really good lads, and they're getting the best out of 1 litre, but not many. That'd be old school for me. 5-blade's a good bike, and it still is a good bike, regardless of the fact it's not competitive at World Championship now. That is still a nice bike.
One more question, please.
No, we've done them. We've bought them.
Okay,
to a standstill.
What do you think about the new Superbike in the PSP?
What's happening with it?
Well, I read somewhere that I was going to send it to us riding or something.
Are we going separate? No, it's only last 10, isn't it? Yeah. So what will happen is, it'll be in 3 groups as it is. It'll whittle down to the top 10, and then the top 10 get their own, like we used to do. I actually quite like that when we did the World Superbike. The problem with it is, you're really nervous as a rider. It's just another area you can actually mess up and cost yourself any chance of a win come Sunday. But I think for spectators, it's quite good. It piles a bit of pressure on riders, which now I don't care about because I'm not having to do it. It'll be good. The idea is that it gives each individual rider's sponsors a little bit of airtime. Because let's be honest, if you finish 10th in a BSB race, you're unlikely to get your bike on telly that much. Because we concentrate on top 1, 2, 3, 5 maximum really. So the idea is that even if you're not going to get much of a result on Sunday, you will have 1 full lap, 1.5 laps really, because you'll pick them up halfway around the warm-up, where your sponsors, and that'll give me and Jack and Steve a chance to, and James a chance to chat about, you know, with the sponsors, the names, the family, whatever. It gives you a bit more time really, which is, riders it'll be a bad thing I think, but I think for everybody else it'll be a good thing. I think. Actually, in actual fact, do you know when it came into World Superbikes, everybody said, well, we're all going to crash, everybody's got too much pressure, you're going to crash. There were very few crashes on it, because you were dead nervous. What you found is, and that was my time doing 1 lap qualifying, Superpole, was in the days of really, really, really good qualifying times. A 2.5 quicker on a qualifier, rear. So you went out there, turn 1 you were nervous because you had a kind of new qualifier on, turn 2 you're getting a bit better, turn 3. By the end of the lap, mate, you were flying. But you lost a bit of time early on. But the last half of the lap, your last sector was always brilliant, but you have to be a bit nervous first couple of corners. Unless you're mad, in which case. The only time I remember a big crash in Superpole, he never actually made his Superpole lap, it was not a UK Arger at Brands. He did his warm-up lap, and he was determined to get out of clearways and start his qualifying lap well, and he just pegged it halfway around clearways and fired himself into the crowd, didn't he? Remember it? Little fat chap going upwards. But apart from that, it was quite safe.
Right, last question, young man.
Just on the same thing, what about making it a 2 laps, timed laps? So you get a chance, if you fell up first lap, you've got a chance on the second.
I think that would work. The problem with that is it start taking a little bit more time to get the whole thing. I think that would work really well. However, if you were using qualifiers at some circuits, your qualifier would be absolutely destroyed after your first flying lap. So that would be a bit of a sort of issue. But yeah, it worked.
Ladies and gents, please put your hands together for James Whitham. Thank you. If you'd like anything signing, just hang around at the bottom there and James will hang around and sort you out. Thank you.